Hey guys, we're starting a new series on how to stop overthinking, which can be an incredible challenge because for most of us, our minds are going 90 to nothing all the time. Now, I've met a couple of non-thinkers, a couple of people who I've said, hey, what are you thinking about? And they go, nothing. And they're being for real. The rest of us, we're turning stuff over in our mind all the time. We're replaying events. We're reliving events. We're processing. We're strategizing. We're thinking of comebacks. We're thinking about what we wish we would have done differently. And that can become consuming. It can become consuming to the point in which we're not being present. We're not actually living our life. We're not actually spending time doing what we need to be doing. In fact, this is how to stop overthinking. It's not how to stop overdoing. There are some people who overdo as well, just like there are some people who don't think. But most of us are not overdoing when it relates to a problem or a situation. We tend to be overthinking. And we're creating scenarios that actually do not exist. It's our imagination gets wild and we create all types of different scenarios and invent all sorts of beliefs around this thing. And so in this series, we're going to examine several ways to either stop or at least slow down with overthinking. So as I was looking this up, I saw something that's pretty interesting. Number one is ruminating is a way that we overthink. And that is that these thoughts go over and over again, dwelling in the past. I shouldn't have said X. Now everybody's thinking Y about me. Or I shouldn't have left that last job. I would have been happier if I just would have stayed. See, all this is invented. We don't know it's true. So when we start going down this path of ruminating, of living in the past, we're not going to be in the present. And we're usually not going to do anything about it because it's simply things that have happened. And now we're dealing with how we feel. The event, it's gone. It's gone. It's not here anymore. But we're starting to ruminate on it. Secondly, is persistent worry about the future that will invent possible outcomes. Most of us don't invent positive possible outcomes. We tend to think in negative terms. So I'm going to embarrass myself tomorrow when I give that presentation, right? Who would think that? But a lot of people do. They start thinking that negative, or everyone else is going to get promoted before me. And you start thinking about other people in the office and how they're elevated or how they get more attention or they seem to get their way. All of this is invention. So what are we going to do about that? How are we going to shift things? Well, the first way to start overthinking is the only thing we're doing in this video. So this isn't a super long video. I'm not doing hour-long sessions. I've got ADHD like probably most of you, and I can't pay attention to myself. So number one, the first thing, not necessarily the number one thing. After we get through the series, you may decide what your number one is. But for today, it's extract. Extract. We've got to get outside of our head and go out here somewhere into the real world. Because as long as it stays inside, we're going to be in trouble. I don't know if you've ever watched a movie where there's a bar fight. And the fight begins and the bar owner goes, whoa, 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 guys, whoa. You need to take that outside. And why do they need to take it outside? Not simply because there's more room to maneuver or nobody has an advantage. It's because inside is damaging and costly. You might want to write that down. Inside is damaging and costly. Most of us do not make our best decisions by staying on the inside. By just using this and rotating it over and over again. When we have a mental tornado going on, most of us do not end up in a good place. So we got to take it outside. Just like the fight goes outside, we're going to take the fight outside. And we're going to do that by putting pen to page. I love Julia Cameron, The Artist Way, all of her books. She constantly says, so I went pen to page, pen to page, pen to page. Get your notebook out, get your journal out, whatever. And you've got to get pen to page with all of these thoughts. And you've got to write them all down. Every single one of them. All your craziness. All the things going on in your mind. All the can't stop thinking about. You've got to put that down on the page. You've got to get it from outside the bar room or from inside the bar room to outside. And that page helps us to do that. And so we're going to write it all down and bullet point it because most likely it's random. In one scene, let's say that you said something at an event and you feel like everybody's got a bad impression of me. List every single person and what you think that person is thinking about you. Write it all down. Bullet point it. Every scene, every scenario, so that you've got it on the page and you can't run away from it. Because as long as it's in our mind, we'll pop scene to scene. We'll invent. We'll have a new narrative. We'll have a new conversation. Because here's what's powerful about this, just from a very surface level. When you continue to think about it, you can go back and review your notes. Last time I said that Shelly reacted like X, and now I'm saying she did Y. You're going to catch yourself in the lies. You're going to catch yourself in the invention as you review your notes. Then not only that, you want to make sure that you're starting to ask the questions that someone like Byron Katie would ask, and that is it true? Is it true? Now you may say, well, they could be thinking that. But is it true? Are they thinking that? And then our second question is it absolutely true? And when you get to the word absolutely, that's where our invention and our imagination falls apart. And then you'll put an X beside everything that is not absolutely true. Every story, every thought, every look, every glance, everything. Like you say, well, the minute I said that, so-and-so looked at me like I was crazy. Okay, so do they actually think you're crazy? Can you absolutely know they think that? Well, you can't. So it's an X. So you put down an X next to everything that is not absolutely true. And then the final thing that you do is you take a clean sheet of paper and you transfer every single thought that you know is true. Most likely you don't have anything on the page, but let's say that you have one or two things on the page. What you've done is you've separated your thoughts from your emotions. You've separated your facts from your feelings. And that's important because you start to realize what you invent and how you tend to process it. And the truth is we all process that way. We're all going crazy in our mind at times. And so what this does, this practice, this extraction allows us to take our thoughts, put them on a page, ask the questions, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure this is true? And then you've got a great basis for transferring to a brand new page to find out if it's true or not. So that's really the first step. The first way to begin to stop overthinking is to get physical, is to get practical. Write it all down on the page. Ask the questions, put the X's, transfer to a brand new page, anything that is absolutely true. In the next episode, we're going to talk about examining. How do we take some things that we really do believe are true and examine them to determine just how true they are? That's going to slow us down and help us not to overthink as well, because we're going to move more into the logic realm than simply the emotion realm. And that's not to say that our emotions aren't important. They are, but we do need to make sure they are real or that they are justified. Well, as we continue to find our purpose, to live on purpose, one of the best ways to do that is to stop overthinking. Success is not an accident. Be blessed.